This is a teaching that only lands when your awareness is here with it. So settle into your breath for a moment, not to relax, but to arrive. Let your inhale widen your ribs and your exhale clear the space inside. You're stepping into a week that's less about healing and more about governance. Not the governance of others, but the governance of yourself. You've already accessed power at the solar plexus. You've already accessed depth at the heart. You've already begun to sense the pressure building in the throat. Week 9 is about teaching these three centers what to do with one another. Because power without direction becomes volatility. Depth without power becomes collapse. Expression without either becomes distortion. This week is the first time that your system learns to treat these centers as a team, rather than as separate emotional zones. The solar plexus holds the authority. The heart holds the humanity. The throat holds the responsibility. Together, they create the architecture for how you handle yourself when life triggers you, challenges you, invites you, exposes you, or asks something new of you. Let's start with the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the inner analyst. By now, this part of you is awake. You feel activation quickly and clearly. A tightening, a jolt, a pull forward. A sense of knowing that shows up before you have the language for it. This is predictive intelligence. Your system reads tone, movement, context, memory, and history faster than you can consciously track. It gives you the signal, not the meaning or the solution, just the signal. The common mistake that people make is assuming the signal is the conclusion. It's not, it's simply the alert. If you act directly from the alert, you confuse the present with echoes from the past. You defend yourself from threats that no longer exist. You burn energy protecting identities that you've already outgrown. You weaponize your instincts instead of directing them. The solar plexus is intelligent, but it's not complete. It's your analyst, not your judge. And week 9 teaches you how to treat it as such. The heart is your meaning maker. This is the place where signals become stories, where sensation becomes context, and instinct gains dimension. The heart doesn't just feel, it understands. It remembers. It recognizes patterns that the gut can't. It holds emotional truth, relational intelligence, and the history of what shaped you. The heart asks questions that the gut can't even formulate. What does this moment echo? What am I reacting to that is mine and what is theirs? What part of me is being touched that I haven't tended to? What value is being pulled into the light? The moment the solar signal rises into the heart, something shifts. The trigger stops being the whole universe. It becomes one point within a map that has many coordinates. And then you begin to see it clearly. Your pattern, their pattern, the moment's actual meaning, the new behavior trying to form. It's not emotional overwhelm, it's emotional accuracy. An entirely different experience. The throat is your architect of reality. This is where everything becomes real. Not because you speak, but because you choose. Your throat is where your internal world intersects with the external one. It's where you decide, how do I want to show up here? What version of me is going to respond? What future am I building with this sentence or this boundary or this silence? It's not communication as performance, it's communication as construction. Every sentence that you speak rewires your nervous system. Every new response forces your brain to update its file on who you are. Every shift in tone creates coordinates for entirely different outcomes. If you skip the heart, your voice will always reflect old patterns. If you skip the solar plexus, your voice will always lack direction. If you skip the throat, nothing changes in the world around you. This week is about giving the throat clean information, so the reality you create reflects who you are becoming and not who you were trained to be. Now let's make it practical and look at the bridge in real situations, because theory means nothing unless you can use it in the wild. Something happens, a text, a tone, a memory, a shift in someone's energy. Your solar plexus lights up. Your first job is not to fix or control. The first job is to recognize. The analyst has spoken. Then you pause, not to be spiritual, but to be strategic. 2 breaths, enough to break the reflex loop, enough to interrupt the automatic pattern. Then you bring the signal upward into the heart, and the questions begin. What is this actually touching in me? What am I afraid this moment means? What do I genuinely want here beneath the desire to win or to protect? You let one honest answer surface, and you don't have to like it, you simply have to let it exist. That single moment of honesty is the hinge. It's what prevents your past from hijacking your present. Only then do you move to expression, to the throat. And from that place, you choose. A boundary that's clear without being cruel. A sentence that's honest without being explosive. Silence that's intentional rather than avoidant. And in that choice, your system registers a new pattern. Not theoretical, not journaled, but lived. And what begins to change when you practice this internal bridge, your life doesn't just feel different, it behaves differently. Your nervous system stops defaulting to war mode. It trusts that you can handle information maturely. It stops screaming. It signals quietly, knowing it'll all be heard. Your relationships also shift shape. Not because other people change, but because your responses stop feeding old dynamics. People who can meet you at this new level will rise. Others who can't will fall away. It's not a loss, it's clarity. Your sense of self settles. You stop defining yourself by the intensity of your first feeling. You define yourself by what you do with that feeling. You realize you can hold power without attacking. You can hold emotion without drowning. You can hold truth without collapsing. And you can hold yourself without abandoning yourself. And all of this becomes the foundation for the throat to open in the coming weeks. That's what week 9 is really doing. We're not healing an old wound. We're not balancing a chakra. We're not calming you down. Week 9 is teaching you self-governance, self-authorship, self-coherence. It's teaching you to run your inner world like an integrated system rather than a scattered response pattern. You're not managing emotions, you're managing power. And the more that you practice this bridge, the more your life begins to reflect the version of you who knows how to use that power wisely. So take one final breath, solar plexus, heart, throat. not a concept, a lived sequence. And you're ready for the next layer.